Hi, everybody. Al Bernstein here with another one of my quick hits. And on this one, I'm going to talk about a fight that was just officially announced, a fight that many fans are very anxious to see. And that, of course, is Miguel Cotto against Canelo Álvarez. Now, this is a fight set for November that appears to be one of the most exciting fights coming up on the docket in the sport of boxing. It's going to have two men involved who are both very popular, both very good, and that fight on November 21st at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas is expected to be one of boxing's most exciting events in 2015. Now, when these two men got together to see each other at the press conference, after lengthy negotiations that seemed like they were going to go on forever, that was the moment when we knew finally this fight was going to be happening. And Oscar La Hoya and his Golden Boy Promotions, the lead promoter on this, making it happen. And it promises to be a very, very exciting match. Now, of course, it's being held at a catch weight, not 160 pounds, even though Cotto is the middleweight champion. In name only, really, because he's not fighting at middleweight and hasn't done that for the last several fights. But nonetheless, at any weight, we know this fight is very, very interesting. And what makes it intriguing, in addition to the fact that it is a continuation of what is one of the best rivalries in sport, boxers from Puerto Rico and Mexico. And when I say it's one of the best rivalries in sport, it is right up there with the Yankees, Red Sox, Celtics, Lakers here in the United States, to use that for American fans. It's an enormous rivalry. It's just fantastic, and it's produced dozens and dozens and dozens of major great fights. But the other part of it is inside the ring. It is as interesting a battle as you could possibly want. Now, for Miguel Cotto, coming into this fight, he has kind of reinvented himself with trainer Freddie Roach a little bit. Of course, he's reinvented himself with 3 or 4 trainers in the last 7 or 8 years. But this incarnation of Miguel Cotto, as we saw against Daniel Gil, and we've seen it in his last couple of fights, is a very aggressive, attacking Miguel Cotto who really want to make things happen offensively. He has always been that kind of fighter, but there were moments where he concentrated on being a little more of a boxer-puncher. Now it's Miguel Cotto, the aggressive fighter. And we've seen that. We've seen power against these bigger fighters. And that certainly bodes well for him. But it also, as I'll get to in a moment, creates an interesting part of the stylistic matchup in this fight. As for young Canelo Álvarez, who is coming in off a dramatic and kind of exciting win over James Kirkland. Now, Canelo in that fight, though he was hit with a couple power shots by Kirkland, and Kirkland will always get in his power shots, he's a big puncher, was able to pinpoint Kirkland very effectively, and among the many punches he was able to use in that fight and use very effectively was the uppercut. And that's a key punch because at the end of the day, that is a punch that will come into play against Miguel Cotto. Now, many of you, I know, have been pushing for me to be a little more bold in my prediction making and be more opinionated. It's frustrating for some of you that I don't. Now, I never predict fights that I am announcing, and that will remain so until the day I stop doing this. However, sometimes in fights I'm not announcing, I don't predict the winner or don't suggest who I think is going to win, and I can feel the angst with many of you on Twitter and elsewhere. And so today, I will alleviate that angst, because for this fight, right now, right after it's been announced, let's have a silent drum roll. I will predict the winner. Here is who the winner of this fight is going to be. It will be Canelo Álvarez. I think this young man has the tools to win this fight, and stylistically, it is the kind of fight that benefits him. Now, do I think it's going to be competitive? You betcha. Do I think it's going to be exciting? Definitely. But here's the reason why I end up picking Canelo to win this fight. Miguel Cotto's style that he has been working with Freddie Roach allows him to be a terrific offensive fighter. But it also puts him in harm's way against a good counterpuncher like and combination puncher like Canelo Alvarez. And Alvarez is a true 155 to 160 pound, 56 pound fighter, will ultimately go to 160. This is where he's supposed to be as a fighter. It's where he's been. It's where he's most comfortable. It's where he's most powerful. Miguel Cotto started out at 140. And if you remember back in his days as a 140 pounder, was occasionally rocked by punchers at 140 pounds. So now here he is up against, even though, of course, he's matriculated up to this weight and has fought very well in many fights in this general weight class, including beating Sergio Martinez, though albeit a faded Sergio Martinez. But still, this is not the normal weight for Miguel Cotto. And so I think he's going to get hit by Canelo. Now, the big question is whether he can hurt Canelo. We've seen Canelo hit with big shots. For the most part, he has demonstrated a very, very sturdy chin. In some cases against fighters who are bigger and stronger than Cotto, though Cotto is a strong guy, even in the mid 150s. My theory about this fight is that because Alvarez is such a good, accurate puncher and is likely to land big power punches on the advancing Cotto, he's likely to win this fight. Now, both of these men have trouble with movers and boxers. And I would point to Austin Trout, who beat Miguel Cotto and fought Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion, to a standstill, even though Canelo Alvarez got the decision. And we saw Canelo Alvarez struggle with Erislandy Lara and struggle mightily with Floyd Mayweather. Now, Cotto lost to Mayweather, though he had better moments in the fight than Alvarez did. So this is a match. That's what makes this a fun matchup. There is no boxer here. There is no mover. There are two men who want to engage, will engage. And so in my opinion, at the end of the day, after I think some hellacious action, I think Canelo Alvarez ultimately will be the victor in this fight. And I would think it's possible he might win by TKO somewhere between rounds 6 and 12. So that's what I think. Now, I want you to just let me know what you think. And I know you're all on Twitter, you're all very shy about giving your opinions. So I'm sure no one will do it, but please tweet me and tell me if you think I'm correct or if you think I'm wrong. And of course, this is a fight in which, understandably, there will be divided feelings about who is ultimately going to win. But for a change, I thought I would be out in front of the pack and be a little more opinionated than you're used to seeing me. In any case, it's an event that we're all looking forward to, and it is a part of the fact that the last quarter of 2015 in boxing really looks to be extraordinary, and this fight will be a big part of it. I'm Al Bernstein. Join me again on our next Quick Hits.